Happy Miracle Working Monday, warriors. Where are all my warriors today? Something happened to me today. I tested positive, y'all. I tested positive for staying faithful in the kingdom of God. Yes, I will forever serve God with my whole life, with my whole heart. I tested positive to be a kingdom builder. I'm not just going to just turn my back on people, but I'm going to reach down and pull up somebody else's hand. I have made it my job to want to build God's kingdom with praying women, praying men. We're all going to be in this thing together. I tested positive for the favor of God to continue to follow me throughout every season of my life. Seasons that are uncomfortable, seasons that I didn't ask for, seasons that I didn't even know that I had to prepare for. I tested positive to stay committed in this walk with God for the rest of my life. At my funeral, there will definitely be a celebration of life because Tamika is going to live the life on earth right now that God has given me to live. No exceptions, no excuses, nothing. Nike wasn't playing when they just give you the check mark, just do it. I tested positive to continue to walk with God, to talk with God, to make him my priority. I tested positive to give him my whole heart, to give him my son, to give him my street, my address, my neighborhood. I want everything in my life to exude the presence of God. I want him to have full reign in my life. I want him to have the glory out of my story. I totally understand, sis. I understand that the divorce hurt you. I understand that when they walked away, you thought you were going to lose your natural mind, but the favor of God, it kept you. So if you are listening to this video, you have the favor of God because you are connected to the ultimate source, the person, God himself. He keeps you. He reassures you. He favors you. The favor of God is on you. I tested positive for no weapon that is formed against me is going to prosper. No weapon that is formed against my son is going to prosper. No weapon formed against my husband will prosper. No weapon formed against anything that is attached to me is going to prosper. I tested positive to be a fighter. I know that people have treated you badly. I know that people walked away and you didn't know what to do. I know that people are fake and phony, sis. I know. But God is bigger than people. He is bigger than fake and phoniness. He is bigger than financial problems. I tested positive to be all that God has called me to be in this season. Come hell or high water, God, I'm going to serve you. I'm going to honor you. I'm going to put my life into your capable hands. Because when I put it in my hands, I can mess it up. But God, today I make a declaration at 2:30 that I will make room for you. I have tested positive to be completely sold out for you, God. Take my hands, take my feet, take my eyes. God, you do what you will with it. Because I am a servant in the army of the Lord. I will be all that God has called me to be. No exceptions. I will be the head and not the tail, above and not beneath. I have tested positive for this life that I have created with you, God. There is nothing that can separate me from the love of God. There is nothing that can separate me from the love of God. I have tested positive to be a prayer warrior for my family. I have tested positive to cover my family, to cover my street, to cover my community. I have tested positive to cover my parents, to cover my siblings, to cover my auntie's uncle. Everything that is attached to me is going to win. It's going to produce fruit. It's gotta produce fruit. That is not to dismiss what you have been through. That is not to dismiss or make lightheartedness or of what you have had to endure. But today, at 2:30, I have tested positive that the past is in the past. The divorce is in the past. The abandonment is in the past. Every situation and thing that I've done, it's in the past. What will you do with the life that you have now? What will you do with this life that God has given you now? What will you do with this life that God has given you? He has given you an abundant life to live life to the fullest. What will you do with this life that you have left? There is nothing mediocre about who God is. There is nothing mediocre about what He has done for you. What will you do with the life that God has given you? He has given us abundant life. I've tested positive to just continue to worship you, God, to continue to honor you, to make my car an altar if I need to. If I need to worship you in the car, if I need to worship you while I'm putting on makeup, if I need to worship you with no music, I made it up in my mind that I'm going to worship you no matter what happens in my life. You are going to get the glory out of my story. Some of you may have seen the busted, broken part of me, and that's okay, unapologetically. But some of you have seen God's faithfulness on my life. Some of you have seen the bounce back game where God provided, where God even added and upgraded. The devil only wants you to see little snips of your life when you're down and when you're holding your head down. He doesn't show you when you find out who you really are. When my back was up against the wall, He helped me. God helped me praise a little bit louder. When my back was up against the wall, there was something about the wall that I began to praise louder. I began to worship a little bit louder. I tested positive to be a fighter, to never give up. I tested positive just to keep going. I tested positive to be all that God has called me to be. There's no mediocrity when He created me, formed me, knew me. I tested positive to be the woman of God that He has created me to be. In this season, we're all going to make it. I tested positive to be a kingdom builder. If you're down, sister, brother, I will pray with you. I will uplift you, but there will be no one left behind that's attached to me. I made it up in my mind that I am going to help people, encourage people, pray for people. So just because you're going through, there's a lot of people that are on standby that want to pray with you, that want to be in, that's going to jump in the fight with you. I tested positive to be one of those people in the fight with you. I tested positive to never give up, to never give in, to never give out. I tested positive to be a woman of God with a prayer life, with a worship life. I tested positive to continue to speak over my life, to continue to declare things over my life. And I just wanted to hop on here and say, I know that I may have fumbled my words here and there because the devil wants me not to put this video out. I've had so many different things. The lighting wouldn't work. This wouldn't work. But no, we're testing positive today to be all that God has created us to be. No exceptions. Nike did not stutter when he said, just do it. It's up to us to open up our mouth. It's up to us to do something different with the time that we have on this earth. What will you do with this life that God has given you? Let's live it to the fullest. Let's be some conquerors, world changers, visionaries. Let's be who God has called us to be. I tested positive to be a child of God. I love y'all, warriors. Happy Miracle Working Monday. Let's go. We got to build God's kingdom one person at a time. Together, we got this. Until next time.